Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Thank you all the members of the Patreons. Make sure to subscribe and let's get into it, guys. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about another aircraft that was actually denied for the next patch. So very early denials, and we're going to talk about what I think that means a little bit, right? So what is the aircraft? Well, it is the F-18, the Hornet, guys. Again, it was denied that it is coming soon. Of course, these denials, they can always change, so there's always a little bit of hope to have. But at the end of the day, probably when Zmin or any community manager denies an aircraft, is normally correct, you know, and it normally takes a little bit of time to that denial to go off, basically, right? Meaning that we will need to wait for the next patch to see an aircraft such as that. What does that even mean? Well, that's the thing, guys. The Hornet is an aircraft that is not necessarily needed, right? It's an aircraft that would do the same as other aircraft already do in the US tech tree, and even in the Swedish tech tree we already have the Gripen, so that's probably why it isn't added yet, and that's why I think in the future, or in the soonish future of War Thunder, in the aircraft side of things, we might see just filling gaps. Why do I say this? Well, let's take a look on last year. You know, last year, or even the year before that, technically in 2022, in the last patch in December, we got the first F-16s and MiG-29s. Yes, there has been already more than a year that those aircraft were added, right? And what came after that in the first patch of 2023 was what? Well, was basically just filling gaps aircraft. You know, you had the MiG-29 912A and aircraft like that, the F-16AJ, other aircraft like that, but in a general sense it was just filling gaps, which means that this is more likely to happen. Why? Because Gaijin tries to, I'm not gonna say that it's a strategy or if it's ethical or whatever, you know, but sometimes they do tend to drop feed a little bit, you know. So they will, if a nation, for example, just got a new aircraft, it will take a little bit of time so that nation gets another top tier aircraft. Of course, there are exceptions to that rule. The US and USSR mainly, because they are the nations that have the most options to be added. So you will see, for example, last year at the same like patch that I was talking about of filling gaps, you had the AK-141 being added, an aircraft that wasn't really needed, right? The MiG-29 was just added, but it was added because they wanted to. So it's always there. I mean, even though we have this kind of line of thinking, there's always exceptions. What we can draw from yesterday's denial and the F-18 denial is that for sure the next patch won't be focused too much on new 4th generation aircraft. The Eurofighter is too far away to come for the performance, apparently, according to them. And the F-18 is not coming soon, maybe because it's not needed. But I have a feeling that it will be kind of that line of thinking of the next patch will be a gap filling patch, right? So they will probably add more aircraft that are actually needed for certain nations. There's a clear one that I always think about, that it's not really needed, but it's something that I always talk about, that I think it's missing from the game, which is the Su-24, for example. It would be the perfect patch to add an aircraft like that. Why? Because it's not meta changing. It's just another option for a ground attacker / bomber for the USSR, and it's not gonna be even like one that completely destroys tanks or anything like that. Just like the F-11, you know, it would be an aircraft that it is there, it is helping, and it's another fun aircraft so that people that actually enjoy flying this type of aircraft or enjoy the actual Su-24 can actually have them finally, right? So that's aircraft that I think will be the focus. Another one would be the AV-8B Plus for the USA, right? The Italians already got that aircraft, but the US never got it, and it's been a while since that thing was added, which means that yeah, it should be added to the US. Is it needed? No, of course not, but it's kind of deserving for the US to receive its own aircraft, isn't it? So that's like with the F-18, the Eurofighter being denied, I think that's going to be the line of thinking. Of course, we can already see that a lot of things that they will add are quality of life things, interface changes, everything that it's on the roadmap already for the next patch. But I think for vehicle like additions, that's what you can actually expect from them. And is it a bad thing? No, it's not, but we gotta manage expectations, right? I mean, expectations are it is the thing that breaks or makes this game win in a patch. You know, it makes you basically just be too excited or like properly amounted excited depending on what is happening. I always talk about the October patch. The October patch is always the smallest one for the year. You know, it's the 4th patch before the final one, and it normally doesn't like receive anything. And even in those patches you can see some very interesting things being added, but still, if you are expecting the 4th, like the October patch, to be the most amazing patch in the whole year that Gaijin adds it to the game, you are going to be sad. You're going to be like, the expectation will be broken. And the same goes for these type of like patches just after a major one, like a major one that pushed a little bit more the performance of a top tier. So as I said, there are exceptions like the AK 141 was, but in a general sense you shouldn't be expecting an F-18, for example, or an Eurofighter if we just got the Gripen for the UK, and we just got the MiG-29G for the Germans, we just got the Su-27, etc., etc., right? So at the end of the day, it all comes down to expectation. They will do what they want. It's up to us to, of course, complain and feedback and everything like that, have a feedback and etc. But of course, it's up to us to take a look on how we can be like mad about something or not, right? So if you expect the next patch to have an Eurofighter, but you get really mad about it because we are not getting it, I mean, it's more of a problem of expectations. The signs are there that it's not coming, right? So at the end of the day, this is where I stand with this. But yeah, anyway, sorry about that team kill. Sometimes it happens. Make sure to subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think about the F-18 being denied. Remember my secondary channel of GTA, and I see you guys on the next one. Bye.